Hello, I'm Mark from MX Retreads. I started my apprenticeship with Honda back in 1975 and there were a few tyre changes back then. So all our tyres were changed using tyre levers. After riding state and national enduros for over 20 years, these skills have been honed to make tyre changing easy. So with a little practice, you too can be up to speed with your tyre changes. We need a good sized rubber hammer. We need some talc for the tyre, which stops the tube chafing against the tyre. We need some detergent to lubricate the bead and ease the tyre on. We need a valve remover. We need a little valve lock which lets the air out of the tube without having to take the valve out. We need a ratchet spanner with a long reach socket on, depending on what size rim lock nut you've got. And the most important thing is a pair of tyre levers. These ones here are dowed at, they're about 16 inches long, and generally we modify the ends of the tyre lever so they haven't got such a big hook on the end of the tyre lever. We flatten those out and then we grind them up just to suit. So under the rim lock, take the valve cap off, put the valve lock on to release the air. It's fairly sturdy footwear. They need to have a fairly strong sole so that when you push down to break the bead, we want to be changing taking the tyre on and off with the sprocket on the ground on this rubber mat. So to start off initially, we'll break the bead with the disc side down, and being careful not to put any exert any pressure on the disc so that we don't run the risk of bending it. So once all the air's let out of the tyre, then we can set about breaking the bead. So it's a matter of standing on the side of the tyre and dropping all your weight down on one foot, like so, to break the bead. So once you've got the bead broken, then you can move around the tyre, break it all, flip the wheel over, break the other side. So as a general rule, we'll always start and finish at the rim lock. The reason being with that is the rim lock and the valve stop the bead of the tyre going down into the well of the rim, which makes it easier to get the bead of the tyre off. So with that, we'll push the bead of the tyre down, insert the lever, first lever in, pull that up just to help the tyre ease into the well of the rim round the rest of the wheel, and then the second lever goes in. Now with this, what we'll try and do is work the tyre to get the bead right down on the well of the rim, well standing on the back of it, and then the first tyre lever can tuck under the disc, so we can forget about that one now. And the little technique that I use, rather than pull the tyre lever out and reinsert it, is just to tap it around with the rubber hammer. Generally, when you're starting to take a tyre off, if you take small bites with the tyre levers, and then you can get into bigger bites as you end up with less pressure on the bead of the tyre. Now the valve lock comes off. Now we pull the tube out is the next step. What I like to do is stand on the disc to hold the wheel down, and with the valve I'll try and pull the tyre up, push the valve in, pull the tyre up, which will lock the valve, and then get your fingers into the tube to end up with a handful of tube, and then pull the tube out in one motion. You can put your hands underneath the tube and then pull out in one motion. And then if you can put hang the tube up on something to keep all the dirt off the actual tube. Now the next step is to take the tyre right off the rim. Now we insert the tyre lever in the back of the rim, and then just sort of pull it over your knee and hold down. And this is where the tyre lever, it's important the tyre lever is actually in under the rim so it doesn't fling out and hit you in the mouth. So now a couple of different ways. If you're out in the bush, we've got a technique that we swing our leg up with your boot on to actually kick the tyre off the rim, like so. Or another technique is to put your knee into the tyre like that, and that will push it off the rim as well. And then the third technique in the workshop, when you've got all the tools, is just to use your rubber hammer. And that's as simple as tapping the bead off the rim like so. And there you have it. That's the first step in getting the tyre off the rim. And then now we'll prepare the new tyre and make a start on that.